Naruto and Boruto have always had a sort of rocky relationship. This is due to Naruto being the Hokage, of course. Naruto never has much time for his family due to his busy life schedule, and nobody feels it more than Boruto. While Boruto may have been upset about him missing Himawari's birthday, do not be deceived. The one most hurt by his absence was Boruto himself. Boruto is upset because he wants his father, not because he hates him. We see respect and togetherness develop later as Naruto tries to be there more, and Boruto tries to understand his father's role. But things really take a turn when Boruto is transported back in time. As I watched through this arc, I began to wonder, what if Boruto were Naruto's brother? An interesting idea of if Boruto had simply been born there with Naruto. Would that change much? I guess we're gonna find out. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you're subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Into the night, two voices cried out. The wife of the Hokage, Kushina Uzumaki, had just given birth. Much to Minato's shock, however, there were two babies, not just one. Both were blonde like him, but had their mother's ferocity. This was present in their crying. But as the two children's wails echoed into the night, something else was stirring. A darkness unexpected. And in one swift moment, one of the babies was stolen from their arms. Still holding Boruto, Minato looked to see that Naruto had been taken from them. It was then that this mysterious entity demanded Kushina for the life of the child. And when too much time was taken to consider this, the entity sighed. Well, I guess I'll just kill this one. It's not like you need two children, right? In a quick moment, the man tossed the child up into the air, preparing to kill it. But Minato, still carrying Boruto in his arms, sprang into action, his fatherly instincts kicking in. In a split second, his body decided to save the child, unaware that doing so would doom their mother. Kushina was gone. Minato would take both children to a secret location, a hidden cottage away from the village. A place of peace, protected yet away from the prying eyes of most in the village. There he laid the two babies down to rest as his mind grew all the heavier with the thought of their mother and what she must be going through. And like a flash, the Hokage was gone. The two children waited in silence, resting. Not long after, their mother would be brought to them, but she was in the worst shape of her life. Not only had she produced two children, but now what little strength she had left was gone with the removal of her tailed beast. She couldn't do anything, nothing except for hold them and cry. She felt as helpless as they were, and Minato knew this. He would turn around and leave once more to stop the Nine Tails and bring it back. There was calm while he was gone, but with a massive explosion, the house had come apart. The two babes were shielded by their mother, but all the same, they were thrown about by the concussive force of the battle as it resumed in the land around their home. The two babies would be left back by their mother as she mustered all of her strength even to stand. She went to help her husband fight the Nine Tails, and it was there that they both died. Minato and Kushina perished there, attempting to stop the nine-tailed beast. But their sacrifices were not in vain. Not only had they subdued the beast, they had sealed it away for later use. And though the body of Naruto was not strong enough to hold the full power of the Nine Tails, the body of Boruto could help. And so the beast was split into two, with the yin half being placed into Boruto and the yang half being placed within Naruto. And that's the story of how Naruto and Boruto came to obtain their tailed beasts. A sad tale indeed, but then again, every hero or heroes needed their origin story. These two small boys would grow up alone with nobody but each other to take care of them. Hiruzen would bring them their monthly allowance, sure, but no real love or affection was present. And such a thing a person starved for as much as they starved for food or water. And since the village was scared of them, they had to learn to protect themselves and to have each other's back. Despite being twins, Boruto had taken the role of big brother. He was a bit smarter than Naruto and a tad bit more mature. Naruto, on the other hand, was more childish, and due to this, had taken on the role of little brother. Despite having no one else, life wasn't as hard as it could be, as the two had each other, and when the world got them down, they'd be there to pick each other up. This gave them a form of stability. "Hold still," Boruto said as he tried to clean Naruto's wound. Naruto recoiled in pain and pushed back. Boruto's shoulders dropped as he looked at Naruto with clear expectation and slight disappointment. "You gotta sit still, Naruto. If you don't, it's gonna become infected." Naruto sighed and lowered his hands that had been raised in a defensive manner. "Okay, fine." Boruto took the cotton swab, doused with alcohol, and began to run it across the cut on Naruto's cheek. The pain was sharp, and it certainly hurt a lot more than Naruto wanted it to. But in the end, Boruto was correct. If he didn't want it to become infected, he would have to have it cleaned properly. Once the wound was cleaned, Boruto applied a bandage. He sat back and looked at Naruto, who avoided eye contact. "Tell me who it is who did this to you," Boruto demanded softly. Naruto shook his head. "It was nothing. I don't need you threatening to break someone's kneecaps again." Boruto laughed. "Oh, I'll threaten to break more than that." He chuckled a bit more, but upon seeing Naruto's continually stoic expression, his jovial attitude lessened. You know you can tell me. You and I are brothers. We're like a single unit, right? Naruto nodded. Boruto slowly placed his left hand behind Naruto's ear and gently pulled his head closer as the two boys touched their foreheads together. This sign of friendship and love was as good as medicine to Naruto, whose eye almost let a tear drip. Night would come upon them, and as it did, the two would settle in for a good night's sleep. All the same, the pale light of the moon shone in on them, ricocheting off their comforters and onto the ceilings. Are you still awake? Naruto whispered. Boruto, whose eyes had not left the ceiling, spoke. Yeah. Boruto had been thinking about his brother's predicament all day, and it was now even preventing him from falling asleep peacefully. Why do people hate us? Naruto asked. Boruto looked over and saw Naruto facing him. I don't know, maybe it's because we're orphans? Blonde, perhaps? I know that blonde hair isn't common around here, and that oftentimes people think it means we're up to no good. Naruto smiled. We generally are up to no good. There was a giggle from Naruto, muffled by the pillow his head was now buried in. This caused him to smile. Maybe they're just jealous, Boruto said. This got Naruto's attention. Jealous? Boruto nodded. Yeah, jealous. Because we're so free. Because we're free, Naruto parroted as he thought about it. What do you mean? Boruto then began to explain. Well, you see, we don't have any responsibilities. We're completely free. Sure, we have school and I'm a natural genius and you've got me. Boruto laughed. This only drew an awkward chuckle from Naruto. Boruto turned on his side to face Naruto. I'm kidding, Naruto. You're very smart. Sometimes you just need a little help is all, and there's nothing wrong with that. I sometimes think you could be the smartest out of the two of us. If the conditions were right, you'd outclass me. This technically wasn't true. Boruto's potential seemed to go far deeper, but this wasn't something that you would say to a sibling, especially one in a vulnerable place. We're free, Naruto said once again. Do you think that's why the adults hate us? For real? Boruto's brow furrowed a bit. Wait, was it an adult that hit you today? Naruto didn't answer. Tell me who hit you. Naruto shook his head. It's fine. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. It already is a big deal, Naruto. Whether they hate us or not, a grown-up striking a kid with a fist is never right. Naruto looked down at his sheets. It was the toy shop owner. The toy shop owner? Boruto asked. You know that guy hates us. Why would you go there? Naruto looked up at his brother. I wanted to buy you something. You were sick a couple weeks ago and I was scared you would die, but you got better and I wanted to give you a present. Boruto's heart was touched. It was true. He had been sick. And while Naruto was overblowing how serious it really was, just a bad case of the flu, it was obvious that this is how he felt. What was it that you wanted to get? I saw a fox mask that I really wanted to give you, but before I got to buy it, the owner pushed me out of the store and took the mask back, saying he didn't want my business. I tried to insist on him selling it to me, but after that we got into a fight and he punched my lights out. Boruto's fists were clenched. How dare he thought to himself. A toy shop owner punches a child? He forgets who his store is for. Boruto sat there for a moment, fuming while Naruto spoke. Are you okay? Boruto looked over. Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. He was silent for a moment longer. Don't go back into that store. And if you ever do, make sure to use the transformation jutsu. It's obvious that people won't accept our business, so they'll just have to accept someone else's. The next day, however, when Boruto had some time to himself, he would go to the toy store where the man had been and watched him carefully. A new shipment of toys had just come in and the man was taking it around to the back. It was then that Boruto approached him. Hey, yesterday my brother came home beaten. He says it was you who did it. Is that true? The man looked back. I'll tell you like I told your brother. Your business isn't welcome here. Get lost. Boruto began staring through his eyebrows. I will, but not before I take what's mine. Boruto would suddenly utilize the Shadow Clone Jutsu. This was a sign of his advanced abilities. He had never been taught this technique. He had simply learned it by accident when he failed to use the Clone Jutsu. He came to realize that this form of clone, though deadly if misused, was far superior to the other clone technique, as this one possessed a physical body to which it could be used to interact with others. And right now, all Boruto wanted was for his fist to interact with this man's face. He summoned multiple. 2 would hold each arm back, and a 3rd would keep the man on his knees. He asked Boruto to reconsider, but he was not open to hearing the man's pleas. He proceeded to brutally beat the man senseless. He beat him until his knuckles bled. He beat him until the man fell unconscious, and from there he would take the mask that Naruto had attempted to purchase before. He would leave and return to his apartment, and there he'd present Naruto with the mask. Whoa, how'd you get this? Naruto asked. Simple. I used ninjutsu to persuade the man to let me have it. Was it expensive? Naruto asked. Not for me, Boruto replied. But here's the catch. We're both gonna play with it. It's a gift for both of us for being troopers, okay? Naruto smiled. Okay. Of course, while this seems like a really wholesome moment, don't expect that it won't have repercussions. It wasn't long after until there was a knock at the door. Boruto opened it up and saw Hiruzen standing there, his face not looking too happy. He didn't even ask to be let in, he simply pushed past Boruto and entered the house. "Be truthful with me, boy. Did you assault the toy shop owner?" Boruto was silent for a moment. Hiruzen took that as a yes. "I don't think you realize how much trouble you're in. I had to personally stop the Konoha police force from busting this door down and arresting you. The toy shop owner still wants to press charges. What do you have to say for yourself?" Boruto scoffed. "Well, if you're expecting me to apologize, then save your breath. What I did to him was well deserved. You assaulted him and then stole his property." "He beat the crap out of my kid brother," Boruto shouted in response. "You think that we're just gonna let people treat us that way? You think we're gonna let the village treat us like garbage without so much as even an explanation? Naruto, get in here." Naruto walked in. "What is it, Boruto?" Boruto waved him in. He proceeded to take the bandage off of Naruto's face to show the bruised wound. "Not exactly the size of a child's fist, is it?" he asked the Hokage. Hiruzen looked at it and began to rub his face. Naruto seemed confused as Boruto replaced the bandage. "What's going on?" "It's nothing for you to worry about, Naruto. Go back to the room and play." He just sort of nudged Naruto off in that direction. Boruto didn't even turn around as he spoke. "That boy's the only family I have. He's the kindest, sweetest little brother that I could have ever asked for, and someone assaulted him for trying to buy a toy. That man's lucky I didn't kill him. Nobody does that to my little brother. Nobody. And if the law won't protect him, then screw the law." "Did you even contact law enforcement?" Hiruzen asked. "They wouldn't have listened," Boruto stated coldly, as if it were a foregone fact. Hiruzen hid his frustration well, but when his fist fell to the table he was sitting at, it was obvious. "Then you should have tried to contact me." Boruto stood there, having flinched from the sudden loud sound. He regained his composure and spoke again. "And what would have you done if we had?" "I would have sought justice," Hiruzen said. Boruto scoffed. "Justice? I didn't even think you know what that is. If you did, then maybe we wouldn't be in this position in the first place. If we had told you what had happened, you would have just continued doing the exact same thing you've always done. Absolutely nothing. If they want to arrest me for taking justice when nobody else would, then let them do it. But just add it to the list of things we suffer unfairly because you're too weak to help us." Boruto left the room. Hiruzen sat there at the table and took a deep breath before letting out a sigh. He wanted to slap the kid silly for impugning upon his honor like that, but then again, he couldn't rightfully do so. Boruto was, after all, completely right. He hadn't done much for them, and the village was being unfair. Perhaps Boruto was right. If they had told him, maybe he wouldn't have done anything at all. But he could do his best right now and try to limit the damage done. He got up and left. There, he offered a sizable check to the toy store owner if he would drop the charges, to which he agreed. And so the issue went away. Or so it seemed. The most immediate result of the issue had gone away, but the true issue remained. That night as they laid in bed, Boruto continued to stare up at the ceiling. The police hadn't arrested them yet, so maybe he was off the hook. Maybe Hiruzen had actually made himself useful and done something about it. Across the room in his own bed, Naruto looked at the mask and sat it to the side for the moment while he got ready to sleep. He then looked to Boruto. "You hurt that man, didn't you?" Boruto looked at Naruto for a moment and then looked away. That told Naruto all he needed to know. "I told you, I didn't want to make a big deal about it." "But it was a big deal," Boruto shouted over his shoulder with a bit more emotion than he had planned to show. He sniffled, and Naruto caught this. He got out of his bed and walked over to Boruto's. "It is a big deal. They think they can just hurt us and get away with it. They think that we don't matter. We don't have anyone but ourselves, Naruto, and every time I see them hurt you, I hate this village. I hate the people in this village. I wish they'd all just die." Boruto was no longer hiding his emotions. He was crying openly now. Naruto crawled into his bed with him and hugged him. "You don't really mean that, Boruto. You're just upset, and it's okay to be upset. These people can be mean, but I'm still alive. They just punched me, no biggie." "But what if it had been a biggie?" Boruto asked as he turned to face him. Tears were rolling down from his eyes as he looked at his brother. "What if he hadn't just punched you? What if others take it as an invitation to do worse? What if those people who wish that we didn't exist decide to make their wish come true?" Naruto laid there with his brother. He had no answer for this. He didn't know what to say. "I can't live alone," Boruto said. "I can't do this without you. I need you. If someone ever hurt you, I'd die too. I don't want to die. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to be alone." Naruto hugged onto Boruto tightly, gripping him as if somehow attempting to squeeze the fear and worry out of his system manually. "We're gonna be okay, Boruto. Don't worry." The two of them slept in the same bed that night. They had to, Naruto felt. The one hurt by the toy store owner's actions was never Naruto. It had been Boruto the entire time. It seemed possible that Boruto didn't really care how he was treated by the village just so long as he had Naruto, and so long as Naruto was happy and healthy. The next day was better. Naruto and Boruto skipped school that day, and nobody seemed to miss them. They just stayed home all day and played video games, watching their little TV and eating their favorite foods and doing the things that brought them joy and comfort. After the weekend they just had, they needed a little peace and quiet to refresh their minds. Boruto would slowly see his emotional state improve. Then on Tuesday, they'd make their way to school. Truth be known, it wasn't as bad as Boruto was expecting it to be. The village goers either weren't paying attention or simply ignored them the whole way. They did avoid the street where the toy store had been, which meant that they had to take a more roundabout way, but it was worth it in the long run. As soon as they got to school, they were mostly ignored. It was an odd atmosphere. Kids both angry at their favorite toy store's owner being assaulted and astounded that he could be beaten by a child. This had an odd impact on Boruto's notoriety. Mostly, the view of his actions were negative, but even those who hated his actions couldn't help but find them cool. After all, a little boy with the shadow clone jutsu had toppled the man of the toy store owner's size. But even then, the kids were still angry at him. They decided not to do anything to Boruto because they knew that if he could almost cripple a fully grown man, he could probably do much worse to them. And so they simply ignored him and Naruto for most of the day, which was just fine and dandy. It gave the two brothers a chance to study, or it gave Naruto a chance to study. Boruto was too busy looking out the window, daydreaming of what was and what could have been. Iruka normally would chastise them for skipping school or refusing to pay attention, but it seemed that Hiruzen had informed him about the situation. Maybe Hiruzen was good for something after all. All in all, Iruka Umino, the one in charge of the class, wasn't insensitive to them. He was generally kind. That wasn't to say that he didn't still show signs of resentment. He did, and neither Naruto nor Boruto could understand why, but that didn't stop Iruka from being kind to them, coming to their defense and even congratulating them on achievements. In fact, in all their lives, Naruto and Boruto could only count on 3 people remembering their birthday, and that was each other, Hiruzen, and Iruka. A year never passed without a well-wish from Iruka. This truly confused both boys. How could one resent them, yet show such love for them at the same time? It didn't make much sense. None of it did. But if they were to say anything, it would be that Iruka was close to what they might call a friend. After all this had happened, Hinata would approach the two of them. No, there had always been another friend, Hinata Hyuga. She had been the kindest, sweetest girl they'd ever known. She was the 4th one they knew that would remember their birthday. She brought them both a heart card. It said something to the tune of, "I'm sorry about what happened, but I'll always be your friend." It was something that actually caused Boruto to well up and cry. Both Hinata and Naruto would hug him. The connection that Hinata had with Naruto and Boruto was a special one. She had a crush on Naruto, that much was obvious, but to say that Boruto was anything short of a brother to her was underselling it. She loved Boruto just as much as she did Naruto, maybe in another way, but she definitely cared for him. If she could, she would take all of his worries upon her own shoulders. Frankly, Boruto wished that Naruto would just hurry up and get with the program, and finally understand that she loved him so they could get serious and maybe get married. Yes, despite them being all of 11, Boruto was already planning Naruto's future, and was simply hoping that he would agree with it. The reason being, Boruto himself crushed heavily upon Hinata, but he didn't want to push in on something so clearly Naruto's, and he definitely didn't wish to force Hinata to choose him instead, especially when she seemed like she'd be so much happier with Naruto. That, and he didn't assume that she wanted him that way anyway. Unrequited love was tragic. A love triangle of unrequited love. Boruto liking Hinata, but Hinata being oblivious. Hinata liking Naruto, but Naruto being oblivious. And Naruto, well, Naruto is just oblivious. In this moment, sandwiched between the hugs of the 2 people he felt closest to, Boruto felt as if his heart were healing. The day came to an end, and they'd be informed that they'd be graduating very soon, and that should they pass the test, they would be allowed to become genin under a jonin who'd become their sensei. Naruto and Boruto were both very excited about this, but Naruto was nervous that he'd be unable to pass. So as they came home, Boruto would start to train with Naruto. He wanted his brother to be ready. Boruto knew he himself was ready, but he was not going to leave Naruto behind, so he made sure Naruto continuously studied and practiced for the final exam. Naruto would stumble when it came to the clone jutsu, but with Boruto's help and coaching, he would go from being barely able to create a single clone to making dozens of shadow clones in an instant. Boruto knew Naruto had the potential to surpass him with his clones, but the issue was in that Naruto didn't know how to properly mold his chakra. This wouldn't take him long to master when he had someone to tutor him. As they continued studying, Boruto couldn't help but ask him about it. "You know that Hinata likes you, right?" Naruto stood there focusing his chakra by doing a form of yoga, balancing a cup of ramen on his head. "I know." Boruto was shocked. "Wait, you do?" "Mm-hmm." Naruto then transferred into the Warrior 2 pose. "Wait, if you knew all along, then why didn't you say anything?" Boruto asked. "Because I don't have much time to put into a relationship right now." I'm 11, and I've got a future to prepare for. I have to keep things focused or I'll get behind. Even without the distraction, I'm still struggling to keep up. Boruto sat there by the table, holding a pencil in his hand, books on the table. He was trying to get in a little extra studying as well. If you knew though, then why didn't you at least acknowledge it? You know she's gonna get bored and go after someone else, right? Naruto chuckled a little. I don't think that's gonna happen. Boruto looked down at his half-finished math equation. Are you just gonna leave her hanging, or do you actually like her? Oh, I love her, Naruto said with a giggle. Really, I do. I just don't have time for her right now. You should at least tell her, or she'll go after someone else. Maybe that's for the best, Naruto said. Boruto was now completely confused. Wait, you want her to trade you in for someone else? I thought you loved her. Naruto took the ramen off his head and sat it down on the table. He took a deep breath. I do, but the point of the matter is I don't want to lock her into a relationship with me when I don't know when or even if I'm ever going to have enough time to spend with her. If she decides she likes someone else, that's okay too. I'd be sad if she didn't choose me over anyone else, but I mostly want her to be happy, even if that's not with me. Boruto motioned Naruto over. He stood up and sat Naruto down into a chair. Naruto, you need to be a little selfish here. She likes you, and you like her. Just go ahead and acknowledge this with her. Trust me, you can't trap her in a relationship. If she wants out of it, she'll find a way to get out. But that is if she wants out of it at all. Are you really gonna let your chance at love slip away? I'm not saying you need to get all lovey-dovey with each other from the get-go. I'm just saying you need to both acknowledge and validate each other's feelings as well as your own. If you don't, you could miss out on something worthwhile. And besides, you're not gonna be busy forever, nor is she. And if you think someone her age is really even out in the market at all, you're mistaken. You're essentially just pre-ordering a relationship with her, and she's not gonna mind waiting. You'll both have to wait anyway. Another 7 years have gotta pass before you could even consider getting married. You're not gonna lock her in. I think you're hurting her more by not admitting this to her. Wait, do you really think I'm hurting her more this way? Boruto nodded. Yeah, if you love her, it's probably best to admit this to her now. Naruto thought about it. Maybe you're right. No maybes, I'm definitely right. If you don't swoop in soon, I'm just gonna poach her. Naruto and Boruto both laughed, though Boruto hadn't technically intended that to be a joke. Naruto looked down at the paper that Boruto was doodling on for a moment and then smiled. Okay, next time I get a moment alone with her, I'll tell her. Boruto put his hand on his brother's shoulder. Good man. The end of the week came and they'd both eventually be taken back by the instructors, one by one, to do their final test. Boruto passed easily, as did Hinata. They then waited outside for Naruto to finish. Boruto was sitting on a swing and Hinata was standing next to him. Do you think Naruto passed? Hinata asked. I know he passed. I gave him a test way harder than this one while we were studying and he aced it. There's no way he failed. Not unless he choked under the pressure. He looked up at her as she then spoke. I think he passed too. It wasn't much longer thereafter that Naruto came out of the building. Do you see a headband? Boruto asked. Naruto stepped through the crowd and looked at them both. He raised his hand to show a headband in his grip. He walked over. I passed! The three of them jumped up and down with excitement and decided to go out to celebrate. Hinata's treat. Now, Naruto and Boruto weren't generally ones to mooch off of a girl, but she was the heiress of the Hyuga clan, and that meant that even if people didn't like Naruto and Boruto, they had to treat her well. And this meant that Naruto and Boruto would get to enjoy meals that they had never had before. During this time, however, Naruto would ask to speak with Hinata alone. The two would go off somewhere away from Boruto to speak. Boruto watched their conversation from afar. He saw the expression on Hinata's face, being surprised mixed with a tad bit of excitement. Boruto began to smile. Go get him, Tiger, he said as he turned his back to the table. The food would be served before Naruto and Hinata got back. They would eventually return. Boruto wouldn't press the issue, nor would they talk much about it. They just went back to having the same good time as before. After that, they would say their goodbyes and make way for their homes. When Boruto and Naruto finally got to bed, Boruto would look to Naruto with a sly smile and simply ask, So, how did it go? Naruto smiled. It went nice. He then turned over on his side and looked away from Boruto. Come on, you gotta give me the juicy deets, Boruto said. I gotta know more about it. Naruto fluffed his pillow. Sorry, but that conversation was between me and her. You'll just have to wait and see. The next day, they would return to school where they'd be told to wait in a specific room for their jonin. As it turned out, Naruto and Boruto were placed on the same team, which was fantastic. But things only got better when they realized that they were going to be on the same team as Hinata. There, they would sit and talk amongst themselves. They couldn't believe that all three of them would get to be on the same team together. Boruto hypothesized that it was because no other kids wanted to be on the same team as he and Naruto, save for Hinata. But Hinata waved it off as silliness. She said that it was simply possible that whoever was in charge of the teams wanted Naruto and Boruto to be happy. And considering that the one in charge of matchmaking probably would have been Hiruzen, it was starting to make sense. Honestly, Boruto was feeling a little guilty for how he had treated Hiruzen a week before. He said some very mean things, but it was obvious that Hiruzen was still looking out for them. He was just doing so from the shadows, which was how a shinobi was supposed to do things. The three of them were so happy about being on the same team, they didn't even care that Kakashi was fashionably late. And when he arrived, they didn't even notice it. That was until he spoke up. They turned around and greeted their sensei. He would lead them outside and get to know them better. This would lead into the bell test. Now, the whole point of this test was to see if the three of them could work together well. Upon being told that only two of them would get to go on together, it became obvious that the three of them would make a wonderful team. As Naruto wanted what was best for Hinata and his brother, Boruto wanted Naruto and Hinata to continue on together so they could stay together and possibly develop their relationship, and Hinata wanted Naruto and Boruto to stay together because she didn't think brothers as close as they should ever be split up. This warmed Kakashi's heart, and he would inform them that they would all get to pass due to their selfless and self-sacrificial behavior. And thus was born Team Kakashi, a team with important work to do. Well, not really. They had cleanup duty. "This is not what I had in mind," Boruto said. "I expected fighting and stuff, not taking care of old grannies and recycling." Kakashi would look to them. "Every team has to start from zero, and you need to learn to walk before you can run. But be patient. I feel like things will get interesting really fast." And that's where I plan to call it quits for now. I hope you all enjoyed this video and didn't notice that I was sick too much. I've done a video similar to this one in the past, a video where Boruto stayed in the past with Naruto to change things. So I thought maybe I could do one where Boruto and Naruto are actually brothers. What did you think of the story so far? Be certain to tell us in the comments, and don't shy away from leaving any more video ideas. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified about newer videos when they release. And if you can't wait for that, here's a couple other videos that I think you'll like. Check them out. Until next time, peace.